if I could see a show of hands, please, if you've heard of GS1 or GS1 UK. That's actually more people than normal, actually. So it's probably about 40 to 50%. We're a global standards organisation, and we're most famous for our barcodes. So those of you that did put your hand up will probably realise that you actually get your barcodes from us and the numbers associated to them. So we license those numbers to brands right across the world to make sure that they can be used to uniquely identified products. And the way that we do that makes that global open trade that much easier. But we do much more than just barcode numbers. We do standards as well. And standards are just a better way of doing things. I think the fact that we've got global standards that can help is brilliant. So, okay, so here's some stats again, just to bring to life the fact that we're a global organisation. So myself and Kim, who I'll be introducing shortly, work at GS1 UK. And GS1 UK is one of 112 what we call member organisations right across the world, and we support members in 150 countries. We serve over 2 million companies, and all of you in the room will be GS1 members, whether you knew that or not. You will be, your companies, your organisations will be members of GS1 at some point. Yeah, and there's a lovely stat there about more than 6 billion barcodes are read over the planet every day. I'm not sure who counted. I certainly didn't, but I'm sure we can all trust that stat. But we're here globally, really, to support you guys, and the way that we work is that we support industry to solve industry problems. Specifically within GS1 UK, where myself and Kim work, we support over 31,000 members across multiple sectors. And I think it's fair to say most of our members do come to us, and those of you who put your hand up who knew come to us to use our numbers. So the global trade item number, the number you see on barcodes. But we're doing more and more work across industry to support problems where we can help. Our main focus at GS1 UK is across these areas. So people that want to sell products on marketplaces, so the likes of Amazon and eBay, those platforms are now insisting that listings are accompanied by a GTIN, a global trade item number. So in order to sell your products on either of those platforms now, you need to be a member of GS1. We also support small and medium enterprises, mainly across apparel and grocery, and obviously multinationals, where most of you come from, again, brands and hospitals. So we work very closely with the Department of Health, and we're embedding our standards, so the types of things like barcodes that we were implementing and helping with retail 40 years ago, we're now putting into place in hospital. So if you've been unfortunate enough to be in hospital recently, you might have seen they've now started putting wristbands with barcodes on patients. So we do standards. I've mentioned we're a standards organisation, and internally the way that we talk about our standards is across identify, capture and share. And I've just brought a little prop here. So identify is generally with our numbers. So the GTIN that I've talked about before, the number beneath the barcode, uniquely identifies this bottle, empty bottle of smart water. But we're also putting these, as I said before, on patients, we're putting them on rooms, we're putting them on services. But that's how we identify things. Capture is about how that information is captured. So it could be the barcode itself, those fancy white lines, white and black or white and blue in this case, lines. And then the sharing of that area of our standards is how we communicate products, or how you would communicate your details of this product to retailers. So we work across identify, capture and share. And in terms of the title of our presentation around data, it's really good to hear data referenced in a lot of the presentations so far. It kind of spans all of these areas across identify, capture, share. And when I first started working, I started at Sainsbury's many years ago. Data standards weren't as important, or accurate data wasn't that important. It was before the internet was a big thing. I remember implementing my first planogram in store, and it looked like it'd been hand-drawn by someone. And now, obviously, if you go into a store and they're implementing planograms, store-specific planograms where the actual dimensions of the products are completely accurate, need to be completely accurate with proper images. Even packets of crisps are squashed, and you can see so retailers can understand how you can get the exact right number of products on the shelf. So data standards are really important, and I'm going to hand over to Kim now, who's going to talk through 2 projects that we're working on with industry, and then she's going to hand back to me for me to help hopefully dovetail the mobile ready hero image piece that Sam and Ollie talked about. And then you can all go and have your lunch. So Kim, over to you.
From my point of view, I've joined GS1 with the glorified title of Innovation and Solutions Director. Nobody knows what solutions means when I try and explain it to anybody, but essentially from a GS1 point of view, it's us listening, and we need to listen to our members to hear what the frustrations are that you're facing and how GS1 can possibly help. And that's where we come up with coming up with some ideas to kind of fix the problems for you. We have within our organisation 3 governing advisory boards. One of them is a retail grocery advisory board, and I think I've got an example, not an example. These are the guys who are on our board today. We have to listen to kind of the frustrations that they're facing, and as I said, you know, is how can we meet the challenges to deliver them something that will solve that. We're a non-for-profit organisation, so it's not about how we can make money, which is actually quite refreshing for me, because every organisation I've ever worked in before GS1 was all about trying to make money. So I'm doing it. I feel like a slight evangelist that I'm coming in to hopefully make your lives easier. But what we're doing with GS1, the biggest frustration, and hopefully there might be some nods in the room or a few grumbles, is the fact that, to Johnson & Johnson's point earlier, it's about the inconsistency of data and the fact that it's not accurate, basically. 80% of data that's getting sent through to the retailers' platforms for shoppers isn't the right information. And I've always worked, even with Tesco.com back in the day, I've worked in an e-commerce world. So I only had my e-commerce kind of head when I started working at GS1, and going and meeting retailers and hearing that they're getting maybe 10 different versions of the same information. Well, it's actually not the same information, but for the same product, 10 different types of, well, it is data, but it's all quite different. And it makes it a really frustrating place for retailers, and I'm guessing for brands as well. So one of the challenges that we've been set is how can we go and fix a one data solution into retailers for brands, and to kind of, well, one, do a number of things. One, improve the accuracy of the data. Two, to speed things up, so when there are changes on any product information, you're not having to wait days for that product change to happen. It can happen immediately. And also to reduce time and costs from a brand's point of view. So we've just started working on, well, actually we haven't just started working on it. It's been, I think it's been a work in progress for the last 18 months. It's a service that's going to go live in March next year. And essentially, it's a way that we can feed data into the retailers. And when I say retailers, I mean everybody. So Amazon, Tesco, you know, the whole kit and caboodle, everybody that you can think of will be using the data. Obviously, not from the get-go in March. That would be ridiculous. That would be high hopes from our part. But we'll be feeding this information through to a lot of the retailers. What does it mean to you? I think, essentially it means that the shopper will get the information that she wants to see. If you think about, in terms of just even looking at the allergy side of things, over 2 million people in the UK have allergies, and they're not just, I can come up with a rash. It's like proper, full on, take me to hospital allergies. And 25% of shoppers, when they're shopping for a product, are actually looking at product information. They're looking at the nutritional information before they make that purchase. And if that information isn't there and it's not accurate, then again, you've lost a sale. I think also from our point of view, it's more to do with the whole cycle of information about that one product. So Charlotte mentioned earlier about getting kind of like the life cycle of that product, if you can, on Amazon a month before the product even goes live. What we're doing with this one piece of data is actually capturing everything in terms of new line formats. As soon as there is a new product that's launched, you get it into the system. The retailers can see that it's happening, it's on its way, and it just creates a much more succinct way of delivering, one piece of reliable information to all of the retailers. We will be making more announcements about this over the next couple of weeks, months. I'm hoping that we're around at lunchtime, so if you've got any questions about this, come and ask us, and we'll be happy to share more information. Another service that I wanted to talk to you about, which again is a passion of mine in terms of, a shopper, but basically a shopper, helping a shopper find product information quicker and more efficiently. I think one of the guys earlier was talking about, not being able to find a product on the website. Well, that could be linked to inconsistent product data, but it could also be linked to the way that the shopper is trying to find that information. We've created a new global standard, which is called Smart Search. Some of you may have heard about it in the room. It's linked to how you can improve your search within Google to then drive the relevant traffic through to a retailer platform. So it's actually kind of the bit before you enter the retailer platform. And I think it's relatively easy to set up, and it delivers really good results. Now, I'm sounding, as I'm telling you this, I feel as if I'm sounding like a salesperson, but there you go. But I think it will help deliver a really strong, and it has proven to deliver great results. Tesco are doing it at the moment, and other retailers will be following quite shortly. When I joined GS1, you hear about standards, and usually it's followed with a bit of a yawn from lots of people. But I think hopefully you can see what we're trying to do for the omni-channel space, for brands and retailers, is actually trying to make your lives a lot easier. So we'd love it if you can come and have a chat with us, and we'd love to invite you in. Tell us what your frustrations are and if there's anything that we can help you with. So I'll just hand you over to Paul to finish up on mobile.
Okay, yeah, so just to finish up, back to mobile-ready hero images. I just represented this as a standard product image, pack shot image, plus their thinking could equal basic maths, a mobile-ready hero image. I think what I hadn't quite realised is how far that had stretched to brands outside of the Unilever categories. So it's really encouraging to see, even in the last 6 months since we've started working together, that this work is already starting to filter out and getting a lot of interest from brands and retailers all over the world. But as you can see, if you go and search on even just UK websites, in terms of the depth of penetration and the longevity of these images, I mean, I was in one of the Sainsbury's sites the other day, saw a hero image there for a presentation I was doing internally, went back, I think, the day after and realised it had been overwritten with an old pack shot again, and I think you can see that sort of thing happening. So the role of GS1 as an organisation, so I mentioned earlier we help industry solve problems, is really to bring people from all around the world into our standards development process. And in that process, whether you're a brand or a retailer, you all have an equal voice in the development of what hopefully will be a really robust guideline. So even retailers will have a voice when we start talking about overlays, which should be quite an interesting discussion. But even from the brand's perspective, everyone, a Unilever and a Mrs. Miggins Pies, if there was a member called Mrs. Miggins Pies, would have an equal vote. But kindly, Unilever have donated all of the work and all of the thinking that's got us to where we are at the moment with mobile-ready hero images. That would seem a logical place to start with the development of a standard. So we will be starting on those categories. But to an earlier question, we will be looking, once we've nailed the Unilever categories, going right the way across other grocery categories and then beyond. So it could be apparel, could be electronics, could be wherever. Wherever there's an appetite for these images to be used, we will be there to facilitate. And as Kim mentioned, we're not for profit, we're completely member driven. If there's a need, we will facilitate, hopefully, change. And this change with this specific one, it is, Kim mentioned standards and the fact that a lot of people yawn. I do, and I work at GS1. This is something we can all get. This is something that everyone's interested in, because we are, to reference an earlier presentation, all consumers. So attracting people to get involved in this is going to be key. Sam's already put up a slide. There is what we call a call to action, which you can find and come and speak to us after. If you do type in GS1 Hero, you'll go past an image of me. Actually, it's number 2 on the search ranking, just below Brand Bank, where Kim used to work, is a link to this call to action. And on that link, there is an opportunity to join the group. But if you'd like to come and see me in the break, I can help there and sign you up. We're really interested in getting a lot of brands, so anyone from the UK or beyond is welcome. And if any of you have got retail contacts that you know would have an opinion on this, please point them in my direction as well, because we want to get to Sam's point earlier around the overlays and what they look like, and own brand products as well. We really want to create a solution that's right for industry. And that's it, I think, from us, isn't it? It is. Thank you.